This meeting is being recorded.
Good afternoon, all. Mike Johnson here, pre-sales consultant with BMC Software. Thanks for your time this afternoon. We are going to be taking a look at Trackit 2018. It is the newest version of Trackit. Was released May of 2018. However, the bulk of it has been in beta testing for over a year, actually, before it was released. So it's a pretty solidly tested platform. I'm going to try to roll through some slides very quick. Hopefully everybody's got dialed in at this point. Everybody is muted throughout the entirety of the presentation. Any questions you have at any point along the way, by all means, please post those in the chat facility at the bottom right of WebEx. And if you want a copy of the slide deck after the presentation, please email me at the email address that's in the chat there, Mike_Johnson@bmc.com, and I'll be happy to send you a copy of the PPS from today. Again, I'm going to try to go through these slides pretty quickly and get into the meat of our presentation. Let's see. What's available today? Trackit does not, looking at Trackit 11.4 versus Trackit 2018 R2, which is the version that we're looking at today, not all the modules in 11.4 have been ported over to 2018. Almost all of them have. Help desk, change management, asset management, self-service, dashboard, reports. Most of our languages are there. Coming in quarterly updates over the next 6 months or so through September is likely to be a good target for the next release, and probably December timeframe after that. Purchasing, training, and library, German language support, software license management, survey, mobile, password reset, barcode, and some other features, more than likely patch management, software deployment, power management, compliance management, and some other cool asset management features. The asset management engine behind Trackit now is BMC Client Management, which has been a product that's been out for about 12, 13 years, so it's a very solid product, newly integrated into Trackit. It's been integrated into Footprint's Remedy Force products and the BMC software family for years. Trackit has been reborn. Previous version had a Windows interface, which was required for setup and administration and configuration. It kind of tended to be the primary interface that most of your techs tended to use if they did anything from an quote-unquote advanced perspective. That is now gone. Everything can be done in the web interface, so there is no more Windows client for Trackit 2018. Completely redesigned from the ground up. Here is a quick look at it. Of course, I'm going to show it in the demo as well. Has been reborn. Configuration, and I'll talk a lot about that. There is your dashboard. You can do some new cool stuff there. It is a modern interface, but it has a lot of familiarity if you're familiar with Trackit. If not, it'll all be new to you anyway. Some little snippets about what our customers are saying. A little quote that's actually mine, so I won't go into any details there. It is browser-based. It will work with any browser. It will work with Internet Explorer, Edge, Safari, Chrome, Firefox, Opera. Those are the ones that I've tested anyway. I have a few others, but they're pretty obscure, and I don't believe I've ever talked to anybody that's used any of the other browsers that I've ever brought up. We did bring in professional user interface designers, got them in the mode of what Trackit users typically want and how they use the interface. So I think it's really solid. I've liked it for a long time, and you get to see it today. Updates are going to move to quarterly. It has been a bit long as we've been working in parallel by building the new code. So it's been a fair bit of time between 11.4 and the 2018 release. That's going to change with 2018. They're now going to be pretty much quarterly releases. The new platform allows us to move a lot faster from that perspective. Form customization is new in this build. So you can create groups in Trackit as well, and you could assign specific forms to specific groups. So if you have a team that wants a very simplified form, you can create an asset form or a ticket form that's more simplified, has less fields on it for that team. If you have another team or group in Trackit that needs a more complex form with more fields, then you can do that. So different fields for different folks. Business Rules Engine replaces all policies. So old version of Trackit had email policies, event policies, skill routing policies. The Business Rules Engine replaces all of that in the new version. It's going to handle everything that you wish to do. Dashboards provide drill down capability. Each technician can configure his or her own view. You can just double click on those to get to the tickets represented by that section of the pie or that bar in the bar chart or whatnot. As I mentioned earlier, groups are new. Multi-stage change requests, so you can get much more configurable and much more complex from a change management perspective in the new version. Asset management, as I mentioned earlier, is powered by BMC Client Management. Does all the heavy lifting under the hood. Discovery is free, and Discovery in Trackit 2018 is not Discovery in Trackit 11.4. Obviously, as I've said a couple times now, it is BMC Client Management and not Trackit specifically configured. So it is an integration between the two. And the BMC Client Management Discovery is often referred to as agentless audit as well, because it will collect hardware and software detail. Does not quite collect all the same information as you would get if you were deploying an agent, but it gets an awful lot more than the previous build of Trackit did. So it's really slick. It's a single agent for all things. So if you're going to audit Windows machines, if you're going to audit Linux machines or Unix machines, which is new in Trackit, or if you're going to audit Macintosh machines, it is the singular same agent that is on all. If and when that agent is installed, that same exact agent also allows you to do remote control, so there's not another install for that. Remote control is web-based, so there is no install. And for the technician side of things, just going to use that agent that's installed in the end-user machine. The administration configuration is vastly simplified. Instead of that great big tree, you just have a series of boxes, and I'll show you what that's all about. You were able to do multiple emails in the previous version. It's a lot more seamless and simple now. You simply set up the multiple emails in one place, no need for forwarding. Directory Importer supports multiple directories. Integrated Windows Authentication supports multiple Active Directories as well. That is new. SLAs are easy to build and very simple. You tie them to your priorities and you create custom notifications, escalations, assignments and such, and then they're kind of the easy extension of your business rules. Drag to drop attachments into tickets. Solutions can now be rated by end users as well as have some notes on how useful it was. No more crystal reports in Trackit 2018. There's now a built-in reporting engine. So you want to create a custom report, brand new report from the ground up in Trackit, you can do that with a built-in report writer. No need to learn Crystal anymore. Build those very quickly. Security, you can enforce security policies if you're using Trackit managed authentication. If you use an integrated authentication, it's kind of irrelevant to you, but the folks who are using Trackit authentication have asked for that for a while. For anyone asking, isn't this just like footprints? No. I'm not going to go into the details here, but there are some differences. There are a few advanced features that are in footprints that are not in Trackit 2018. And it handles workspaces a little bit differently, which don't really exactly exist in Trackit, although you can have groups and custom forms assigned to the individual groups. Still are different. Again, I'm not going to go into all the details there. I'm not going to go into the details on that slide. Trackit is brand new. This is kind of the why Trackit thing. A, we've been around forever. B, we own the market. C, we drive upgrades and enhancements largely by folks who are participating in BMC communities, specifically the Trackit community. Since it's a huge customer base, folks put in enhancement requests or ideas, as they're called, in communities, and that drives the changes that are going to occur in Trackit, and those changes are going to come faster now, since we're going to be planning on quarterly updates. Rapid time to production and a low cost of administration. Probably 70 to 80% of our customers don't have any consulting at all. We want to keep Trackit built in such a way that you're not really going to require consulting. Most folks can be up and running in 3 or 4 days, maybe a week if you're going to get pretty complex. And then it's very easy to go in and tweak on your own, again, without any consulting as you move on. So it's very quick to get up and running. I will come back to this later. We're going to end that for now, and I'll bring that up a bit later. And what you are looking at now is the Trackit technician interface. All right, you have multiple groups in Trackit, so you see two displayed here for my administrator account. We're going to go ahead and log on as administrator, and we'll see where I left off. Wherever I left off in the system, that's where it's going to put me back to. Might have been configuration, or it might have been dashboards. I actually do not remember where I left off. And survey says I left off on dashboard, so that's cool. That's kind of where I wanted to start. I am going to jump in real quick and talk about the self-service web. So what we're looking at here now with your dashboards, this is a technician interface. This would be somebody who works in help desk on your desktop support team, or somebody who's in facilities and works on air conditioning and plumbing issues if you're going to use Trackit for facilities. A lot of people have been using Trackit for multiple teams in IT and beyond IT for years. It's even easier to do it in the new build with the advent of groups. So they would log into their appropriate group. If they were only in one group, instead of seeing multiple like I did in the drop-down and login, they would just see the group they have rights to, and they wouldn't see any of the other groups. So there is a little bit more obvious and built-in segregation between different teams or groups in Trackit parlance within 2018. Bouncing back over to the self-service side now, I'm not doing any integrated authentication at present, but that is available for technicians as well as end users. End users are going to use the self-service portal, which is what we are looking at now. This is one way for end users to get tickets into Trackit. Beyond the email automation, user sends an email to helpdesk@domain.com, facilities@domain.com, report requests at domain.com, human resources at domain.com, whatever email addresses you want to create, whether it's 1 or 5 or 6. Send an email in, Trackit creates the ticket automatically, assigns it to a group or a technician or both, and then that results in email notification, so you don't necessarily have to be watching Trackit like a hawk. You can, of course, create tickets manually and Trackit, but self-service web is going to give you the most automation and the least overhead. It's going to make you very efficient. I usually recommend that you sell this to your user base by letting them know, hey, here's a great resource for IT, as opposed to you must go here to put in a ticket, which is going to tend to get resistance. Great resource for IT. Who doesn't like resources? Everybody likes resources. Make sure that it is a resource. One obvious way to use this is post announcements. If you have upcoming downtime, or knock on wood, you have unexpected downtime, post an announcement about that. Particularly if your Exchange server is down, folks aren't going to be able to send you an email, and there's probably only so many of you that can answer the phone. So folks will naturally gravitate here and say, all right, well, let's just go to the IT resource and see if there's an announcement about Exchange server and see if they've told me when they expect it back up and running. It helps everybody. Helps you, helps your end users. Solutions is the other area. Again, new from Trackit 2018 is the ability to rate those solutions. Cell 2007 print area. If I have this particular question, I can throw in keywords and do a search, then get a quick answer to my question here. I can then provide a rating for that solution, 4 stars, 5 stars. I've already rated this one, obviously, and then I can provide some feedback there if I want. Another way to look at these solutions is you can browse them. This is also new in 2018 from 11.4. If I want to see all the printing-related solutions or all the VPN-related, all the one VPN-related solutions there. HVAC error codes, not just for IT stuff. Again, we have an awful lot of people using Trackit for teams above and beyond IT. Maintenance-related solutions, printing solutions, software-related solutions or solution there. What else? Information, lots of stuff under the generic header of information there. Users can, of course, create their own tickets. We have redundant controls. The layout, there's a lot of similarities between this and the previous version, but there are a lot of differences as well. You can determine which fields you want here as you could in the previous version. That is no longer in an XML file. That is now in the simple configuration. So if I go to configuration here, Sorry, I tend to cause motion sickness. I am now back over on the technician side of things because I really quick wanted to jump into the self-service configuration and show you appearance settings here where you can determine what's available on that main home page, which fields are going to be visible there from a ticket creation perspective as well as a ticket view perspective, and what custom links to other resources you want to have there. Your custom links, everybody hold on to their seats. Back over on the end user side now, self-service. All right, custom links are down here. Summaries are required field. Note, I've pulled priority and one of the other fields off here. I can't remember. I added a custom date field down here at the bottom, probably somewhat atypical. Priority is on this form by default. For somewhat obvious reasons, I've pulled that off, which a lot of people are going to want to do. Any required fields or entries, you don't have multiple drop downs here. They now select the items from here. You can go 3 levels deep, 1 level deep, 9 levels deep, however you want to create your categories, which are all yours, as are your priorities, which you'll see a little bit later when I go back over to the main part of Trackit. My tickets, which is accessible here. I'm not going to save changes there. Or again, redundant controls over here from the main page. One final element that's new. Obviously, the layout of this is different. I can cancel a ticket. I can add additional notes. But I can also provide access to tickets beyond a specific end user's tickets. Previous version of Trackit, if I logged in as an end user, the only tickets I would see were my tickets. If I were logged in as John Doe, I would see John Doe's tickets. I would not see Jane's or Susan's or Karen's or Bill's or Fred's or Ted's. I would only see mine. New build of Trackit 2018, you can provide department level or location level access. So no longer, if somebody wants interactive access to tickets for their department or their location, or both, you can provide that now. And then a manager, presumably, would be able to come in here and add notes to a user's ticket, cancel an end user's ticket. So that's an additional benefit there. View my change request approvals. This is specifically only going to be visible if your end user is also an approver for change requests. There's somebody that's tapped to approve or reject access to a particular share, or approve or deny purchase requests, or they're part of a change board for change management or for projects in your organization. If they're not, this is the entry-level accountant type person that your organization just hired. They're not going to see this here because they're not going to have any approvals, more than likely. Again, single sign-on is the default. User logs into their own Windows machine successfully. They do not get prompted for a login. They just magically appear on the home page. Alternately, you can have them key their Windows credentials in here, or, as always, you can use Trackit managed credentials there. All right, back over on the technician side of things, and I'm going to quickly bounce back over here to the dashboard view. These dashboards are now dynamic. Old version of Trackit, you had 2 panes that were ticket-oriented that you could load up onto the top. Now you could pick your favorite 2 to put there, but this build, you can have as many as you want. I have 4 in this case. There were equal length 4 of them in the original build. I made 2 of these wider, made a small pie in the top left, and a medium 2/3 length open tickets by requester. To add additional dashboards, just click Add Panel here. That'll bring up your panel right there, which I will close. The overall idea is a very clean view. So as my cursor is over here, up near the word dashboard there, as I hope you see dashboard pop up, if I go to the top right of any of these, you see the controls. So all of your views are selected from your grid views in Trackit. So if you create custom views of tickets within Trackit beyond all tickets and all other assets and pending approvals by change requests and my open tickets and closed tickets and my tickets due today, my custom ones are floated up to the top with a little underscore in front. Open all IT assets. You choose where you're going to pull that data from. Give your chart a name, pick a field to group and filter there. What type of chart do you want? Do you want it to auto-refresh? How often do you want it to auto-refresh? I don't know why I had that at 10 minutes. So I kind of wanted it at 30 minutes. But the idea is to hide those controls. And again, you can put it in preview mode. You can export it. You can manually refresh it, or you can close it, cancel it altogether. Top left, you can also just have a really quick one-click change of chart. If I wanted this in a bar chart view, I could do that. Then I could immediately change it back to pie chart. As I hover over a section, you see the slices of pie jump out there. You see the bars kind of highlight up here and change color. So if I wanted to look at these 20 medium priority tickets, I could just double click and go directly to those tickets. So let's ungroup them there. And then if I were going to focus on this one, I could double click and I would open up the ticket right from that view. So drill down is directly from the dashboards. This is pretty much a default ticket layout. Time permitting, I will talk about the form builder and the way you can change, add and remove fields, move fields around, add buttons and controls, and all that stuff, because that is all fun stuff. Back over here to dashboards, I'm going to talk about configuration. All right, here's your application settings portion of configuration. Here are your lookup fields, including activity codes, priorities, and categories. All right, and statuses. Here are the help desk basics. All right, this is also going to have your asset management lookups and your help desk lookups. These are specific custom fields, whatever you want to use these values for. All right, you have your self-service configuration settings here, your form definitions here, fairly straightforward. Even if you click the all, which is going to give you all of the nodes you have in total to configure Trackit, it is much simpler than the previous version. Directory importer, it is here. Your directory service is going to appear here by default. Look at that. I have 3 domains listed. Previous version of Trackit did not work well with multiple domains. New version of Trackit doesn't care. It's happy as a clam with multiple domains. Selecting, again, you wonder, how do we go from the Windows interface, and what does that look like? Here's your field mapping. Still have a graphical interface for that. If I want to map something else, I can do that here, over here in Requesters. I added department and location. Kind of defaults in the old version. I'm not sure why they didn't default in this version, but again, really easy to add here. So if I'm going to add a value to lookup 1 or to text 1, let's see, where do I want to import to? We'll go to text 1 here and text field 1, and I'm going to map that to the manager field in AD. Hey, look at that. There's all my fields in Active Directory. And I'm pretty sure it's just manager if I got it right. There you go. So now I've changed that. I'm going to save that, top right, get a quick message up here that it's been saved, back, and I'm ready for my next step. You also have a quick and easy restore defaults there. Selection and licensing, technicians and requesters, where are they? They're in OUs or organizational units, or they are in groups, whichever you want to prefer, and you can mix and match. You can choose certain groups to not be licensed for self-service, other groups to be licensed for self-service. All right? You can do an immediate import, and that is back on this page here. Import users there, and you have a schedule that you can set up for them to be imported as well. So configuration, again, overall theme is keep it very easy. Groups, they are here. Here are my groups: facilities, help desk, system administration, and telecom. For whatever reason, I currently have my admin account set up for only access to system administration and telecom. Presumably, I would have another admin user with system administration and help desk, actually. Telecom and facilities I recently added. That's why my admin doesn't have access to those groups yet. Again, if you have a tech that only has access to one group, then that's all they're going to see there. Technicians are here. So you're going to have technicians segregated based on groups. You also can edit, and you can set technician permissions here. You have overall permissions there, and then you have advanced permission elements here. For instance, if you want to limit the rights of text to create solutions, you could do that. If you want to have them limited rights, if you don't want to have them be able to delete ticket notes, for instance, or add or edit announcements, you can do that. So you can get pretty granular on your configuration here from a permission perspective. If you just want to make them a system admin, you could click that box up on top. Really straightforward. Again, your configuration is really simple in this build. Really quick, let's talk about workflow, and I think that's going to be the last area here that I'm going to delve into before I go into the meat of Trackit and show you the look and feel of the help desk overall. Service level agreements here. I only have the one that I've built out as an example. Compared to the previous version now, that this one is tied to a priority, which is here. I've called it critical. It's tied to critical policy, which has these rules: an expected due duration, the old due date, expected response date, the old response date, expected fixed date was now expected fixed duration, 1 hour, 2 hours, 10 minutes there. Based on the 40-hour work week, you can now have multiple sets of business rules and business hours and Trackit. I have 2 set up in mind. You could have 3 or 4 or 8 or 10 if you want to go nuts. Now, another thing that's different is I can have multiple criteria drive this particular SLA. Obviously, the critical priority is going to drive this SLA because I'm calling it critical. But also, if the category contains global many impacted, or if the category full path, which I actually should have this set to, contains global many impacted, and we are going to scroll down and find one example. Let's see, category full path. Let's see, requests. There we go, global many impacted, and I'm going to edit this down. So now, any of my multiple categories that have global many impacted in the path, that is going to trigger this particular policy. So even if this priority is not set, i.e. it's not available in my build of self-service web, still if a user selects class global many impacted, this critical SLA is still going to apply to that ticket because the nature of the issue is driving the urgency in this case. Or if the end user is a member of the executive department, which we're going to know because, at least in my build, I'm bringing department over, and if it's listed as executive, they automatically get TLC, greater urgency. It's going to trigger this critical SLA. You're going to have your milestones here, so what's going to happen on ticket creation, what's going to happen as the expected fixed date approaches, and that's 10 minutes prior to the expected fixed date. That's my condition. What are my actions? What's going to happen when that condition is met? In this case, it's going to be a notification. It's going to contain this information. Whatever you want to put in there, free form, like this little bit at the front here. And then these in brackets, these are fields from the ticket inserted as variables. There's all your fields there. Just select the one that you want and put it up here. Let's see. Whoops. Nope. What do I want to do? I want to do this. Ticket categorized as, boom, and category full path, insert in the message body, boom, details, anything you add in there free form, any fields that you pull to insert into the body or to the subject, and I'm sending out to the system administration team in this case and to the assigned technician. We will apply and we will save that. Boom. Let's see. My other milestone here is on creation, and I'm doing 2 things on creation. All right. So on ticket creation, I am updating the record, and this is where your assignments and such are going to come into play, as well as your setting of overt setting of priorities potentially. Assigned technician, blank. I'm leaving that blank specifically, but I'm assigning to the system administration group. That's what I chose to do in this case. And I'm sending a notification to the technician here at this point as well. You could have rules that would send a notification such, for instance, on ticket close, that would maybe include the resolution notes to an end user or to a manager or to both, or to neither, based on different criteria that you set. You can get pretty granular in how you do that. Business rules are pretty much an extension of that. They are here. There are a bunch that are included. These are read-only. You can open them up and you can take a look at them, but you cannot edit the ones that are built in. They are active or inactive. What you can do, however, is if you want to create additional business rules beyond the ones that are included here and the ones that you're going to highlight and make active or make deactive, if I click on an inactive one, my option is to activate selected rule. You'll see a copy business rule there. You can copy it and use it as the basis of a new business rule you create. So there's a lot of little things that Trackit has done to try to make it really easy for you to do that configuration. Change management is very similar in Trackit, and while I'm over here on the configuration side, I'm going to talk about that real quick, and then I'm going to try to move into some flashier, cooler stuff. And I kind of thought I had some in here. Apparently not. So I'm going to do a new one here. Hey, look at that. We'll say this will be for accounting share access request. All right. So we'll leave description blank. We're going to give that. We'll leave that 2 days here. This is going to be based on our 40-hour work week, and we're going to base it on our Eastern time zone here. Let's see, Eastern time, U.S. and Canada, and when the ticket is updated with the category equals accounting share access. And the department of, well, we'll leave that alone. We're just going to make it real simple here. We're going to make it when the category is accounting for accounting access share, who are my approvers? All right. In this case, I'm just going to list 3. So we're going to make it Mike Johnson, and that is not Mike Johnson. If I could spell my own last name, that would be easier. No, we're gonna need to scroll through. So we'll scroll through to me here. Let's see. We're gonna make it Mike Johnson. We're gonna make it Mike Smith, and we're gonna make it Mike Vanderberg. So those 3 folks are gonna be my approvers. I really, this is basically stage 1 means I'm gonna send an email to all 3 of these people at once. I only need one of them to approve in this particular case. This is a very simple policy, one I typically do in all my examples. If you need to require a more advanced priority, now I'm going to activate this one here. We're going to say yes. All right. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do yet another new one. We will call this a complex project policy here. And we're going to make this one 5 days. We're going to base this on, again, we're going to base this on the same. You know what, for giggles, let's make this -8. No, let's do, we'll just do in the pluses. That's what's throwing me off. Let's get into the minuses, and we will do Pacific time, boom, and that will be based on my 40-hour work week. This one I'm going to base on the category where that equals project. So we will scroll through here and we will find project, which I think I have in here. Or if not, added that one back in. Tell you what, we're going to keep it really simple, and we're going to say change management there. It's going to be based on change management. Who are the approvers in this case? Well, in this case, here's what I'm going to do. All right, I'm going to make me an approver here. All right, so we will say our baseline here, our first level is going to be me and Melissa and let's say David and Raheem and Fritz and David and Nathan. 7 people. Only 5 of these people need to approve. All right, at that level. Once 5 of those 7 approve, now I'm going to have, let's see, I'm going to have Jimmy and Josh and let's see, Kevin as approvers, and I want 2 of these 3 to approve. All right, and then I'm going to have yet another stage here. So ultimately, once 5 of these 7 approve, then it triggers 3 emails to go out to these 3 folks. If 2 of those folks approve, then I'm going to have Matt as my final level of approver there, and that'll just be 1 in this particular case. So that allows you to get pretty granular and complex on how you do your change policies. One last thing I want to show in here before I get out of configuration. Email. Incoming and outgoing emails. All right? Here's my incoming email addresses. These are the 3 different mailboxes I've decided that I want to monitor. Help desk, which is all my IT related stuff, whether it's desktop support type stuff or system admin type stuff. Maybe I have a separate one for report requests or application support or whatever you want to do. This one would send tickets to the facilities team. This is literally one that I use for test emails. Outbound emails set up here to send outbound notifications. That's very important in Trackit. And at that, let's take a look at Help Desk. All right. Everything in Trackit, as it has always been, is kind of based around the concept of grid views. This is my grid. If you're familiar with 11.4 and earlier, you'll know this looks a little bit different. You have all the same controls here. Filters are collapsed down here. Here are the filters that I have in this view. The idea is to keep it simple and clean. So you want to double check what's in that filtered view, you can do so there. This one I think is filtered a little bit further. No, it's still just 2. Your columns, they are here, manage columns. There's all the columns that are available. Changing the order of columns is just a matter of dragging and dropping right here within the screen. We make extensive use of Ajax controls. Filters, this is what's in the view and what's not in the view. You can have as many layers and levels of filters as you want here. We won't save that. And you can create rules here. So any tickets with accounting as a category are going to be this pink color. Any that are change management or project management, that's what master refers to there, are going to be this orangey color. And then this garish orange is when the priority is high. I think I didn't have any in critical, so I wanted some that showed off easily here. So I know at a glance this is an HR ticket. That's a project or change management ticket. These 2 are high priority. So color coding here. And then you can come in at any point in time and save the view or save it as a new view, make it private or make it public. Public just means it's available to all your technicians. Getting into a ticket is just a matter of double-clicking to open the ticket up. Again, if you want to create different ticket forms, this is available to you. If you're not using alternate phone or email, pull those fields out. Don't use them. If you're not going to do change management, you can wipe this whole section out. If you want some other custom stuff to replace it with, you can add a whole other section, throw whatever custom fields in there that you want. And again, different forms for different teams. Change forms, ticket forms, asset management forms, so you can get very granular in your configuration. You can also filter so that one team only sees their categories and another team only sees their categories to distinguish between categories. This is all new from the 11.4 build. All right. Asset management, looking at it here before I bounce back over, we're going to say not saving that. We're going to bounce back over here to asset management real quick. All I'm highlighting in this particular case is my Windows XP machines. I have an old data set where I have a whole bunch of old stuff, so this was the easiest one for me to quickly show that. We're going to capture pretty much all the same information, just going to display a little bit differently. In this case, I believe this is an asset that has not had an agent audit run on it yet. I believe this is just discovery. You're always going to have your basic information segregated in the top left, your other information over here. Again, you can tweak this form and make it simpler or more complex. Your financial information for the asset, purchase order number, vendor, date purchased, all that good stuff is here. Tickets that are associated to the asset. Old version of Trackit, you could get to the tickets for an asset by starting in Help Desk and filtering by assets. Now you can go to the asset and get the tickets from there, so you can go to it from both directions. Any assignments or any relationships you want to create with other assets. Doing an immediate audit is audit now up here. That would do the agent-based audit. Remote Connect is this button here. You have that from your tickets as well. Asset details are here. Have your hardware information here. Again, the layout's different from 11.4. All the data is here, though. Software is here. Again, very much like programs in the old version. Anything that's in Admirable programs or more properly apps and features or programs and features. Your security-specific information is segregated out here. Financial asset management is repeated here, as is asset relations. This is the control you get to if you're going to get to an asset from a ticket. Okay? Any views in Trackit, whether it's asset management views or whether it is a view in Help Desk, if you want to export, just highlight here, Preview pane you can turn on or off just like the old version here, and this gives you a quick way to peek into the ticket without the need to open it if you want to utilize that. I'm going to turn that off again for me. If you want to export it, that's also an option you have here. You can go to CSV or HTML from here, or you can refresh, or you can copy, or you can change status of a ticket here. So you can change the status to completed or closed here. If you change it to closed, oftentimes what you would do is you would then enter a common ticket resolution there, enter that, and then maybe your email rules automatically send a notification to your end users as a result of that. And again, I'm going to say no to change most of these things. Setting up and configuring your asset management and Trackit is very easy as well. All right. That is going to be your asset management section here. I can also find that in all. Network discovery is here. I just have one configuration set up. I can edit configuration up here, or I can simply double click from here to open that up. Either way. This is the range I'm looking for. I'm going to set credentials for my Windows machines, and I have 2 sets of credentials. I could have 1 set or 3 or 4 sets, however many really it is that I want. That is how it handles multiple domains. As long as the Trackit agent is installed on the machine, it will then automatically report its results back. If you're doing agent-based audits, no matter where that machine is, it does not need to be on your domain. It does not need to be connected to your domain via VPN. It can be over the internet at home in somebody's living room. It could be behind a hotel's firewall at some convention center somewhere. It will securely tunnel to get back to Trackit. If you're using remote control in Trackit 2018, same thing. As long as the agent exists on that machine, you can remote connect it no matter where it is. You don't need to be able to ping it. It will securely connect right over the internet. Much more dynamic than the previous version of Trackit. That is very cool stuff. All right. Configuring your agent. Oh, no, that's not where I meant to go. Is much the same thing. Your agent configuration here. Multiple sets of credentials here. Configure those. Also, this is kind of why I call it now kind of a step-and-a-half process versus a 2-step process in the previous version of Trackit. You can check these off to automatically install agents when the assets are discovered. Previously, you would do discovery, you would reconcile discovery, and then you would enable scheduled audit, and it would automatically pick up on the next schedule. What you can do now is, hey, you found this thing, great, put an agent on it right now, now that I got it. Right while I have it. I found it, it's on now, put the agent on it now. Very cool stuff. Very dynamic. All right. I'm at about 45 minutes. I think I'm doing okay on time. One area I want to be sure not to miss, here's your change management module here. Of course, this is pretty straightforward. Same thing. You have your different columns that you can view here. You have your filters that you can apply here. You have your column selector or your formatting rules here. Column selector was here. And you can come in and save any views that you create. Solutions. Kind of like the old build, here are your folders here. Here are your here are your topics and your subtopics. Here are your individualized solutions here. Build those out. Very easy to build those from tickets. So if I'm in a ticket, for instance, let's open this one up as my example, and I want to create a solution from a note on this ticket. All I need to do is highlight the note, click Create Solution there, boom, and then select the topic within the tree where I want that to appear. Which topic do I want this in? Configuration, boom. I hit Save. If I want it hidden in self-service web, I would select that. Otherwise, it's available to everybody. Again, yet another one where I'm going to abandon and not really save that. All right, reporting. Last but not least, here is reporting. All right, you have a number of included reports in Trackit. Open tickets and assignments by priority. Here is one of the CAN reports. Let's see how I'm doing from a memory perspective. I have a brand new build on a brand new VPN, and I'm running myself ragged on memory and CPU power, so I need to do some tweaking still. But let's see if I can get a short range of tickets display real quick. We will go July 1st. and we will go July 1st, 2016. I'm going to do 2 years anyway, through end of this month, July 31st. Done. We will commit that. We will submit, and we will run the report. This one should run and shouldn't take too long, although I'm now realizing I do a lot of things with my build repeatedly that are not going to generally occur in an actual production environment based on the way I do testing and doing demos, and I tend to need to reindex mine quite often. I also just recently rebuilt all my my virtual machines, and they're all running from a single laptop at the moment, and they're a little tight on resources. So yours is not going to be as slow as mine. I have just barely enough memory to run what I've allocated, and I'm running Server 2016, and I put everything on a single server, which I'm also going to change. It is likely not going to be the case in your environment. Most folks have an existing build of SQL, and that's where your Trackit database is going to go. Most folks spin up a new VM, and that's where your Trackit is going to get installed. Just a Windows VM with IIS installed on it, and that's what's going to run Trackit for the most part. You can run Express, but again, most folks own SQL, and if you own it, it generally behooves you to use it because you're already paying for it. It's designed to run multiple databases, and you're not going to have any memory limitations. And you probably run into less trouble than me. So I'm not going to bother to go into that again. I am running a little bit long on time as well. So I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to quickly show you a new report, new webinar test report. We'll give it a very simple name. We'll go ahead and give it a description. We'll just repeat that for giggles. There we go. Data source. We're going to look at tickets here. I'm going to do a really down and dirty simple one. We're going to go into design mode. Again, look, nothing in my hands, nothing behind my back. No crystal report writer. This puts me into the test report, into the designer. All right. My data source here, I can look at different data members here. This is going to be ticket centric. What do I want the appearance settings to look like? How about background color, border color, fonts, padding, watermarks, formatting rules? How about behavior, measurement units, request parameters, export options, more data drill downs here, more design elements here, navigation here, page settings here. Do I want to have an XR table? Do I want to have a picture embedded? Do I want to have rich text? Do I want to have a shape or a barcode or a chart or a gauge or a spark line in this report? Do I want to drill in via the design wizard to do my report? And do I want it based on ticket information? And what do I want in there? Let's see. I always like to make sure I do assigned to group and assigned to technician, and I like to do category, maybe category full path as well. We will do priority. We will do status. Let's see. Priority. We're going to do requester, and we're going to do status. We're going to put that on the we'll put SLA on the report as well, and we'll put status on the report. Next, what I want to do next, we're going to organize this by category, and then we're going to organize by priority. We're going to do it that way. Next, we're going to stick with the defaults there in portrait mode. We're going to go with the casual layout here. We're going to go next, webinar, custom reports, boom, finish. That gives me the basics, puts me back into design mode so I can tweak it further if I want to get a little bit fancier with that. Beyond the defaults, this will probably be a relatively basic and ugly report. Reporting is not necessarily my forte, but I want to at least show off the wizard and the report creation here. There we go. So there's the basics. I could extend and collapse these areas, category and priority. Let's see. Let's move priority over here just a little bit. We will give a little bit more room to assign to here. No, I didn't mean to right click. That's just me being spastic as usual. We'll move that over a little bit. We'll move this over a little bit. One of the big things I do is I don't usually space very well. Category doesn't need a lot of room, so we're going to pull that over here. We'll allow a little overlap there, and requester, come on, we'll move requester over, and that, well, we're gonna leave it from here. We'll move status over a little bit, give ourselves a little bit more space for status there. There we go, and then let's just do a quick preview of this and see what this looks like. Starting to get closer to the ideal custom report that I want to show here, but any of the Formulabs reports that you want to customize and potentially have emailed out automatically on the schedule that you set, that's not anything I went into detail, but you can schedule these reports, have them go out automatically as often as you want to whoever you want. Just PDF them, drop them in an email on the schedule that you set. You can also schedule tickets, which is great for preventative maintenance. Often I talk about the 4 Ps for where a system like this will be useful. You think of it as help desk or ITSM, IT service management, ultimately. Problems, projects, preventative maintenance, and I forgot what my 4th P was. But any team that does those things will find use out of this. That's 325 pages. That's still an awful lot of data, but here is my basics of my report here. I usually start looking more slick. I'm a little short. I should have left some more room for categories there, as you see some of those overlap. But access to that share, I would prefer to have that in one line. So I could probably do a little bit better and clean up on there. And then from here, of course, you can export to a number of different formats, or you can send to a printer from here, or you can search the report from here. So very cool stuff. Your categorization, or your scheduling, scheduled tickets are here, scheduled reports are here. Again, all the Trackit is really point and click. So it's really straightforward to do these. If you want to do a new report schedule, just click new up here. Same thing for your scheduled tickets. I'm not going to wait for that to go. What I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to bounce back over here to the dashboard module. I am going to relaunch my slideshow, if I can easily and quickly do that right from here. Nope. Let's start from this slide. Let's pull this over here, and let's okay, well, apparently I don't know how to use this as well as I think. Not going to let me go to a specific slide. Okay. We're going to cheat. I just want to throw something up here. Basically, this is the portion of our show where I tend to ramble on a bit and give you guys a chance to ask any questions that you may have about Trackit, and I blew right through the one that I wanted. Let's try this again. These are the ones that I've showed. So if anybody does have any questions, please post those in the chat facility at the bottom right-hand side of WebEx. If you want to copy the presentation, again, send me an email to mike_johnson@bmc.com, and I'll be happy to send you those. This is where I keep trying to get to. There we go. And let me double check and make sure I don't have anything in the actual Q&A area, which for whatever reason has not popped up for me. There it is. And it does not look like I have any questions. So assuming that is the case, I definitely want to thank you very much for your valuable time this afternoon. I know how hard it is to get away from a help desk. I have not always worked for a software company. Additional information, Trackit.com is a great resource. If you want to look at Trackit from a hosted perspective, meaning Since it's web now, if you just want to go to the website and poke around and see what it's all about, trackit2018.trybmc.com. Phone numbers there for account management. If you do not already own Trackit, if you do already own Trackit, you're going to want to focus on the support number that is listed there. And again, thank you all so very much for your valuable time this afternoon. Thank you very much. You all have a fine day.